Yesterday, which topic we started?
Binary fission.
Means reproduction. We have started. What is reproduction?
Producing new producing new individuals of the same kind.
Of the same kind. Why reproduction is not considered as life processes?
Because it is not essential to survive, but it is required for the species
For
to.
the species. What is the difference between similar and identical?
Identical means exactly the same, and similar means they are the same but with a little variations.
Little variation. What is the main constituent of inheritance from parents to next generation?
DNA.
Chromosome.
Huh. In the form of DNA molecules.
Hmm.
Chromosome in the nucleus, but actually it is in the form of DNA. देखो क्रोमोसोम एक सेकेंड क्रोमोसोम इन द न्यूक्लियस ऑफ अ सेल कंटेन इंफॉर्मेशन फॉर इनहेरिटेंस इसके पास इंफॉर्मेशन है फ्रॉम पेरेंट्स टू नेक्स्ट जनरेशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ डीएनए डीऑक्सीराइबो न्यूक्लिक एसिड मॉलिक्यूल्स ओके व्हाट इज वेरिएशन व्हाट इज वेरिएशन
Changes that occur during DNA copying in cells.
इन cells if it is very drastic then what will happen
Then the organism may not
Evolution.
survive.
hmm. Organism cannot survive. Is variation necessary or not?
Variation is necessary because it forms the base for evolution. The environment is constantly changing, so if it helps the species to adapt to the changes.
Adapt to the changes. What are the modes of reproduction?
Asexual and sexual
Ma'am,
reproduction.
fission.
No, no. Firstly, you will reply like the sexual, asexual modes of reproduction. What is the
Okay.
basic difference between them?
Asexual reproduction is done by a single parent, whereas sexual reproduction requires two.
Requires true. In asexual reproduction, first we have done
Fission, binary fission,
fission means
the division of cells
division of cells
in
between
unicellular organisms.
in unicellular organism. Aikta, what is kala jar? Who- which causes kala
Ma'am,
jar
it is a type of sickness which is caused
caused
by
by
leishmania.
leishmania. Today we will do fragmentation. Yesterday we have done fission and today we are doing fragmentation. Fragmentation means also fragmentation वर्ड का मीनिंग क्या होता है
Ma'am, I think breaking down so
ब्रेकिंग
कुछ
डाउन सो
related.
व्हाट इज द बेसिक डिफरेंस बिटवीन fission एंड फ्रेगमेंटेशन
In fragmentation, they divide into multiple fragments,
मल्टीपल
more
fragments
than two.
start to read from here
Activity 8.4. Collect water from a lake or a pond that appears dark green and contains filamentous structures.
Hmm.
Put one or two filaments on a slide. Put a drop of glycerine on these filaments and cover it with a cover slip. Observe the slide under a microscope. Can you identify different tissues in the spirogyra filaments?
Spirogyra filament. So what we have done here, we collected water from a lake or pond. थोड़ा सा मतलब गंदा टाइप पानी लेना है that appears dark green. Dark green किस वजह से appear होता है? Have you ever observed? Dark green due to the presence of
Algae.
Fungus
algae.
spirogyra.
हाँ, mainly algae and contains filamentous structure. इस तरह से कुछ structures रहती हैं. Put one or two filament on a slide. Put a drop of glycerin. Glycerin, you know, students?
Yes, mom.
It is also known as glycerol. Glycerin also known as glycerol. Can you tell me if all is here? So it means which functional group is present?
Alcohol.
Alcohol. All is there. It means OH is also present there in its formula.
Yes, ma'am.
On these filaments and cover it with cover slip. Observe the
Ma'am, I've
slide.
heard of glycerol being used in like hygiene products. Just a
Yes.
face wash. Yeah.
Yes. Actually, glycerine is general name. Glycerol is chemical name because all is present there and its formula like that. If I am not wrong, yes, I am not wrong. It is not included in 10th class syllabus. This is the formula of glycerol. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you identify different tissues in Spirogyra filaments? In multicellular organism with relatively simply body organization, simple reproductive methods can still work. Simple reproductive method. Okay, firstly, Ayukta, read it. Ayukta?
In multicellular organisms with relatively simple body organization, simple reproductive methods can still work. Spirogyra, for example, simply breaks up into smaller pieces upon maturation. These pieces or fragments grow into new individuals.
New
Can we
individuals.
work out the reason for this based on what we see in activity 8.4?
A student in Spirogyra breakdown and every individual is converted into new individual. But in fission, what happened? From cell, it breaks down, two formed, okay, from 1 to 2, again from 1 to 2, okay. Now next one, Tanya.
Just a second, ma'am.
Aikta, you continue then.
This is not true for all multicellular organisms. They cannot simply divide cell by cell. The reason is that many multicellular organisms, as we have seen, are not simply a random collection of cells. Specialized cells are organized as tissues, and tissues are organized uh, into organs,
Hmm.
which of which then have to be placed and at ma'am, just a second.
Definite position.
Ma'am, just a minute, I'll be back.
Tanya, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
You continue then.
Ma'am,
From
from base.
specialized.
Yes, ma'am. Specialized cells are organized as tissues, and tissues are organized into organs, which then have to be placed at definite positions in the body. In such a carefully organized situation, cell by cell division would be impractical. Multicellular organisms therefore need to use more complex ways of reproduction.
Reproduction. So what they are saying, this is not true for multicellular organism. Fission we have done for unicellular. Next we are doing fragmentation. Fragmentation we are doing for multicellular. Multicellular, how body is organized. Firstly, cell. Collective way of cell is known as tissue. Tissue and tissue, collection of tissue makes organs. Collection of organs make organ
System.
system, and organ system makes complete organism. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Organ system makes complete organism. So fragmentation, it is not true for all multicellular organism. They cannot simply divide cell by cell. ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं है सेल बाय सेल इनमें डिवीजन हो. द रीजन इज दैट मेनली मल्टी सेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म एज वी सेन आर नॉट सिंपली अ रैंडम कलेक्शन ऑफ सेल्स. कैसे होता है, ऐसा कोई कलेक्शन नहीं है कि कैसे भी सेल मतलब अरेंज हो गए, कुछ हो गए. प्रॉपरली अरेंजमेंट होता है. एज आई टोल्ड यू that the cells are organized in tissues are organized into organs, okay, which then have to be placed at definite position. जो भी tissues हैं सब कुछ है वो क्या होता है definite position में होते हैं. Okay, in such a carefully organized situation cell by cell division would be impractical. ये जो स्पेशलाइजेशन हो गया ना, एक बॉडी स्पेशलाइज्ड फॉर्म में है, ऑर्गेनाइज्ड वे में है, तो उसमें ऐसा नहीं कि हर सेल का डिवीजन होगा. इट इज इम्पॉसिबल है. बात क्लियर हो रही है. सोचने की
Yes,
बात है,
ma'am.
मल्टी सेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म में सिंगल सेल था, सो इट इज डिवाइडेड इन टू. बट इफ इट इज मल्टी सेलुलर, so cell by cell division not possible, so more complex ways are used for such type of reproduction. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayukta, now continue. A basic.
A basic strategy used in multicellular organisms is that different cell types perform different specialized functions. Following this general pattern, reproduction in such organisms is also the function of a specific cell type. How is reproduction to be achieved from a single cell type if the organism itself consists of many cell types? The answer is that there must be a single cell type in the organism that is capable of growing, pro-
Proliferating.
proliferating,
Hmm.
and making other cell types under the right circumstances.
हाँ, तो basic strategy that multicellular organism in different cell types perform different specialized function for reproduction. As we already studied, for multicellular organism it is not possible division of each and every cell. तो एक specialized functions use होते हैं following this general pattern. क्या pattern है उसमें? Reproduction in such organism is also the function of a special cell type. How is reproduction to be achieved from a single cell type if the organism itself consists of many cell types? रिप्रोडक्शन कैसे अचीव होगा सिंगल सेल टाइप से? उसके पास बहुत सारे सेल्स हैं पर सिंगल सेल टाइप से. द आंसर इज दैट देयर मस्ट बी सिंगल सेल टाइप इन ऑर्गेनिज्म दैट इज कैपेबल ऑफ ग्रोइंग. मतलब क्या होता है, डिवीजन होता रहता है. वी आर मल्टी सेलुलर ऑर्गेनिज्म proliferating and making other cell types under the right circumstances. Clear हुआ बेटा? Which one we are doing? We are doing fragmentation. Multicellular organisms show this type of asexual reproduction, but it is not possible in all multicellular organism. How multicellular organism? Being prepared by cell, collection of cell tissue, collection of tissue organs, then organ system, and they are placed at the right place in the organism. Okay. And how reproduction takes place, specialized functions are there, and the most important thing, under right circumstances each cell should grow. Okay, each cell should be capable of division. Now regeneration, whose turn?
Not mine.
Okay.
Regeneration. Many fully differentiated organisms have the ability to give rise to new individual organisms from their body parts. That is, if the individual is somehow cut or broken up into many pieces,
Hmm.
many of these pieces grow into separate individuals. For example, simple animals like Hydra and Planaria can be cut into any number of pieces, and each piece grows into a complete organism. This is known as regeneration. Regeneration is carried out by specialized cells. These cells proliferate and make large number of cells. From this mass of cells,
एक सेकंड,
different cells.
एक सेकंड. And make large number of cells. Firstly I will explain till here. So here fragmentation we have done, here we are doing regeneration. Okay, it is ability to give rise to new individual organism from their body parts. Complete individual prepare hota hai. This is if the individual is somehow cut or broken up into many pieces. Many of these pieces grow into separate individual. For example, simple animal जैसे कि hydra है, planaria है, can be cut in any number of pieces and each piece grows into complete organism. This is known as regeneration. Figure दे रखा है, एक second. 8.3. Cut and each individual is grown into single individual. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
from this, okay, continue from here.
From this mass of cells, different cells undergo changes to become various cell types and tissues.
Hmm.
These changes take place in an organized sequence referred to as development. Ma'am, can you scroll?
Yes, yes, sure.
However, regeneration is not the same as reproduction since most organisms would not normally depend on being cut up to be able to reproduce.
Hmm. So in regeneration, what's going on? Organism is cut, new organism is formed, but it is not for all because it is not possible कि हर organism करता रहे और reproduce करता रहे. So from this mass of cells, different cells undergo changes to become various cell types and tissues. These changes take place in an organized sequence referred to as development. However, regeneration is not same as reproduction. Okay, students, actually regenerate. Can you tell me the difference between regeneration and fragmentation? Fragmentation we have done,
Yes, ma'am.
hmm? And regeneration we have done. Can you tell me the difference between regeneration and fragmentation?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, I think
in
in regeneration,
Hmm.
the ma'am, I think in regeneration,
Hmm.
the organism breaks into pieces by some specialized cells.
Hmm. In 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 which one you told me?
Regeneration.
In regeneration, organism is cut कहीं से भी कैसे भी हुआ and new species, new individual is formed. But in fragmentation, it is
Acha,
properly reproduction method in which simply breaks down into smaller pieces upon maturation. Regeneration is not proper reproduction method. Okay, it is given here, but देखो एक difference मैं आपको बताती हूँ. Fragmentation happens itself when there is need of reproduction, but in regeneration what happens, this is the organism, anyhow somehow it is cut into three pieces and then new individuals are formed. Are you getting the point? But it is not
ma'am,
so.
can you repeat again?
Yes, sure. In fragmentation, fragmentation is the proper method of reproduction. Fragmentation is the proper method of reproduction where organisms break down into simpler pieces, simpler parts, and every individual grows into different species. But here it depends कि कोई आए इसे काटे तब ये न्यू इंडिविजुअल में बनेगा. So it is not a proper method of reproduction. Would not normally depend on being cut up to be able to reproduce. Okay, ऐसा होता है but it is not the proper method of reproduction. इसमें dependency है. Are you getting?
yes, ma'am.
What about Ayukta?
Yes, ma'am.
Now budding as it is clear by name. This is hydra. this part grows in different bud. This one is formed and then it is being separated into two. This is known as budding. Okay, whose turn to read?
My mind. Organisms such as Hydra use regenerative cells for reproduction in the process of budding. In Hydra, a bud develops as an outgrowth due to repeated cell division at one specific
Specific
site.
site.
This,
Hmm.
these buds develop into tiny individuals and when fully mature detach from the parent body and becomes a new individual,
New individual.
independent individuals.
So here, this is the budding. Hydra regenerative cells for the reproduction in the process of budding. क्या हो रहा है? This is a site where multiple cell division taking place and a new bud is formed. But full organism, then it is separated from it and new independent individual is formed. Okay, okay, friends. Now next is vegetative reproduction. Vegetative
Propagation.
sorry, vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation, students, we done this topic in 8th standard also, if you remember. If you don't remember, then it doesn't matter, we'll do here also. In vegetative reproduction, students, we know plants are also living beings. They also need reproduction to maintain their species. Okay, so generally what we know that seed is sorry, reproduction takes place through the seed. But sometimes reproduction doesn't take place by the seed only. How it takes place? It takes place different parts of like plants. Stem it can be. Are you getting my point? Means not only by seeds. This type of reproduction is known as vegetative propagation. Start to read from here, Tanya.
There are many plants in which parts like the root, stem, and leaves develop into new plants under appropriate conditions. Unlike in most animals, plants can indeed use such a mode for reproduction. This property of vegetative propagation is used in methods such as layering or grafting to grow many plants like sugarcane, roses, or grapes for agricultural purposes. Plants raised by vegetative propagation can bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seeds. Such methods also make possible the propagation of plants such as banana, orange, rose, and jasmine that have lost the capacity to produce seeds. Another advantage of vegetative propagation is that all plants produced are genetically similar enough to the parent plant to have all its characteristics.
Hmm. So there are many plants in which parts like root, stems, leaves develop into new plants. But the most important thing, there should be appropriate condition. ठीक है ना? Unlike in most animals, plants can indeed use such a mode of reproduction. This type of reproduction is used by plants. Vegetative propagation is used like layering or grafting. You know about the layering or grafting. Many plants like sugarcane, roses or grapes for agricultural purposes. और जो ये vegetative propagation से plants which are reproduced by vegetative propagation, so simple, flowers and fruits can be bear by them. जैसे कि सीड से हो रहा है वैसा ही सेम इससे हो रहा है. Methods also make possible for the plants like banana, orange, rose and jasmine. If there is no seed, they lost their capability of producing seed. In that way, we can use vegetative propagation. In vegetative propagation, a specific part is cut and by it reproduction takes place. Leaf of bryophyllum with buds. You can see in leaf and different buds at the corner. Okay. Now activity 8.5.
Take a potato and observe its surface. Can notches be seen? Cut the potato into small pieces such that some pieces contain the notch or bud and some do not. Spread some cotton on a tray and weight it. Place the potato pieces on this cotton. Note where the pieces with the buds are placed. Observe changes taking place in this potato pieces over the next few days. Make sure that the cotton is kept moist.
Hmm.
Which are the which are the potato pieces that give rise to fresh green shoots and roots?
Roots. So potato and observe its surface. Have you ever observed notches be seen there on potato surface? Potato को we cut in small pieces. Some pieces contain notch but or some do not. What we have done? We spread cotton on a tray. Okay, wet cotton, and where the pieces with the buds are placed. We will observe the changes which take place in the potato in next few days. But the most important thing, cotton should be moistened. Fresh green shoots and roots will be there. These are buds. Buds produced in the notches along the leaf margin of bryophyllum fall on the soil and develop into new plants. Are you getting the point? Please confirm, have you seen notches or buds on the potato? Yes, Ayukta and Thanya.
Yes, ma'am.
What about Thanya?
Yes, ma'am.
Now in activity 8.6, what we will do? Whose turn to read? Start to read activity 8.6.
Select a money plant. Cut some pieces such that they contain at least one leaf. Cut out some other portions between two leaves. Dip one end of all the pieces in water and observe over the next few days which ones grow and give rise to fresh leaves. What can you conclude from your observations?
Hmm. So here we selected money plant. Have you ever seen money plant?
Yes, ma'am.
And what we do, we cut some pieces, but they contain at least one leaf. इस तरह से we cut some other portion between two leaves, dip one end of all pieces in water and observe over the next few days. ये वैसे बहुत मतलब मनी प्लांट क्या होता है, एक जगह से दूसरी जगह ले जाते हैं, एक पार्ट कट करके ले जाते हैं और दूसरी जगह उसे वापस से पानी में डालकर सॉइल में डालकर वो फिर ग्रो हो जाता है. हैव यू एवर ऑब्जर्व दिस थिंग? If any person, anybody has money plant, so there is no need that we take seed or like that. Simply cut the part, we get it from there, and we can grow it at our home also. Okay. Now next is tissue culture. Yes, whose turn? Aita.
Tissue culture. In tissue culture, new plants are grown by removing tissue or separating cells from the growing tip of a plant.
Hmm,
The cells are then placed in an artificial medium where they divide rapidly to form a small group of cells or callus.
hmm,
The callus is transferred to another medium containing hormones for growth and differentiation. The plantlets are then placed in the soil so that they can grow into mature plants.
hmm.
Using tissue culture, many plants can be grown from one parent in disease-free conditions. This technique is commonly used for ornamental plants.
हाँ, तो टिश्यू कल्चर में व्हाट विल हैपन, न्यू प्लांट्स आर ग्रोन बाय रिमूविंग टिश्यू एंड सेपरेटिंग सेल्स फ्रॉम द growing tip. How many growing tips are there in a plant? Can you tell me?
Three.
Three. This is the plant. One here, फिर in one in its girth, sorry, and one node. So we remove cell or tissue from there. The cells are then placed in an artificial medium where they divide rapidly to form a small group of cells. A small group of cells also known as callus. The callus is transferred to another medium containing hormones for growth and differentiation. Differentiation, you remember or not? Hormones for growth and differentiation. In differentiation, what will happen? Meristematic tissue is converted into permanent tissue, and these are known as plantlets, are then placed in the soil so that they can grow into mature plant. Are you getting what we have done? From the growing tip, cell is taken, it is separated from the plant, okay, then it is put in the artificial medium, a small plant is formed, and then it is kept in the soil. Using tissue culture, many plants can be grown from one parent, as we are studying about asexual reproduction. So it is grown by one parent in disease free condition. This technique is commonly used by ornamental plants. Can you tell me what are ornamental plants? Ornamental means जो, बताओ कि क्या होता है ornamental? देखा होगा उसके ornaments, गहने, like earrings, garlands, ये सब जो बनता है, these are known as ornament. Now next is spore formation. Spore formation. Before that, look at this diagram. Spore formation in rhizopus. Spore means like that. Okay, start to read. Spore formation. Yes, whose turn? Start to read, students.
Mom, should I read?
Yes.
Even in many simple multicellular organisms, specific reproductive paths can be identified. The thread-like structures that developed on the bread in Activity 8.2 above are the hyphae of the bread mold, rhizopus.
Hmm.
They are not reproductive parts. On the other hand, the tiny blob on a stick structures are involved in reproduction.
Reproduction.
The blobs are sporangia, which contain cells or spores that can eventually develop into new rhizobus individuals. The spores are covered by thick walls that protect them until they come into contact with another moist surface and can begin to grow.
So in many simple multicellular organism, what will happen? Multi specific reproductive parts can be identified here. This thread-like structure is not included in reproduction, this bob type structure. Thread-like structure that developed on the bread. Hyphae of the bread mold. This is known as rhizopus. They are not reproductive part. On the other hand, the tiny blob on a stick structure are involved in reproduction. और blob को क्या बोला है? Sporangia, which contains cells or spores that can eventually develop into rhizopus individual. Spores are covered. These are the spores you can see, and these are covered by thick wall that protect them until they come into contact with another moist surface and can begin to grow. These are spores, this is thick wall, okay, it is protected them they come in the contact with another moist surface. What will happen in bread? One, it comes in the contact of other moist surface, then again next one. It begins to grow. So all the modes as we studied till now are the modes of asexual reproduction. Okay, friends.
Yes, ma'am.
Read first question.
How does binary fission differ from multiple fission?
Hmm.
Ma'am, in binary fission, the organism divides into two daughter cells,
Hmm.
whereas in multiple fission, it divides into multiple
Fizz.
as
Multiple. In multiple fission, it divides into.
multiple cells or fragments.
Hmm. So I am telling you answer. In binary fission, a single cell divides into two equal halves. Amoeba and bacteria divide by binary fission. Okay, binary fission takes place in amoeba. In multiple fission, single cell divides into daughter cells simultaneously, amoeba and plasmodium. You have to write the answer and then after you have to show the diagrams. You can prepare the diagrams from your textbook only. In starting we have done first topic fission we have done. There we have multiple fission, this one, and for binary fission any of these or both you can prepare. Next question. एक second. Next question, Ayukta.
How will an organism be benefited if it reproduces through spores?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know.
So advantages of spore formation which we just done. Large number of spores are produced in one sporangium. Large number of spores, as I told you, this one and this one. Spores are distributed easily by air to far off places. It avoids competition at one place. एक ही place पर पूरा spore आ गया. Then again reproduction. So it avoids that. Spores are covered by thick walls to prevent dehydration. These are the spores covered by thick wall. So it avoids dehydration under unfavorable condition. Okay. Next. Next question, whose turn?
Can you think of more reasons why? Can you think of reasons why more complex organisms cannot give rise to new individuals through regeneration?
Hmm. Complex organism cannot give rise to new individual through regeneration. What is the most important thing of regeneration?
Ma'am, they have a specialized group of cells that help the cut part,
Hmm.
grow into a complete organism again, whereas that is not the case in complex multicellular organisms.
Multicellular organism. So simple organisms such as Hydra and Planidia are capable of producing new individual through the process of regeneration. The process of regeneration involves the formation of new organism from its body parts. Simple organism can utilize this method of reproduction as their entire body is made of similar kind of cells in which any part of their body can be formed by growth and development. However, complex organisms have organ system level of organization. All the organ system of their body work together as an interconnected unit. in reproduction. They can regenerate their lost body parts such as skin, muscle, blood, etc. However, they cannot give rise to new individual through regeneration. Are you okay with it? Have you ever seen lizard? If tail is cut, so what will lizard do? It will grow new tail. So this is regeneration. Next.
Why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing some type of plants?
Hmm.
Ma'am, the plants which cannot uh, grow through
Seeds,
seeds.
very good. Then vegetative propagation practiced. Or
Um, I think, ma'am, it is quicker and less difficult.
quicker and less difficult, we can say. Plants can be grown from any other part. Yes, it is correct only. Next, fifth. Thania.
Yes, ma'am. Why is DNA copying an essential part of the process of reproduction?
Hmm.
Ma'am, because when cells copy DNA,
Hmm.
they copy the information that is required to inherit the characteristics from the parent generation to
Hmm.
the next generation.
Very good. So deoxyribonucleic acid, that is DNA copying, is an essential part of reproduction as it passes genetic information from parents to offspring. It determines the body design of an individual. The reproducing cell produce a copy of their DNA through some chemical reaction and result in two copies of DNA. The copying of DNA always takes place along with the creation of additional cellular structure or cellular apparatus. This process is then followed by division of a cell to form two cells. Okay, you have to revise all the things. And now we'll start question number 28. 28th A. Ayukta.
In the given series of reactions, name the compounds X and Z.
X and Z compound. X, Z, and which type of reaction is X to Z? Yes, Ayukta.
Ma'am, I'm not able to identify.
No issues. Thanya, read question number 28.
Attempt either option A or B. In the given series of reactions, name the compounds X and Z.
Hmm.
Which type of reaction is X to Z? Ma'am, what is NH3?
Ayukta, will you tell what is NH3?
Ma'am, ammonia.
Ammonia. It is
Uh,
ammonia.
Mom, I don't know the compound.
Okay. So here,
Mom,
hmm,
is it HCl?
it, no, it is not HCl. They are asking about X and Y. Actually, in this reaction, I'm giving you a hint, then you reply me. Two compounds are formed, that is NaHCO3 and NH4Cl. Okay? NaHCO3 and NH4Cl. I told you that the two compounds which are formed in this reaction. Now you let me know which one is X and which one is Y. Which one is X and which one is Y? Array, let me know student which one is X, which after decomposition will give H2O and CO2 gas. NaHCO3 or NH4Cl?
NaHCO3?
NaHCO3 will be X and Y is NH4Cl. NaHCO3 on heating will give Z, H2O and CO2. So what is Z here? Hmm. After decomposition of NaHCO3, we will get Na2CO3, in which 10 molecules of water of crystallization is added and it will become Na2CO3.10H2O. What is the general name of NaHCO3? And what is the general name of Na2CO3? Yes, student, please reply. Na2CO3.10H2O is NaHCO3 baking soda, Na2CO3.NH2O washing soda. Okay, Tanya Ayukta,
Yes, mom.
this is tricky question.
Yes, ma'am.
Now second, Tanya, you let me know. Third. Oh, second we have done. Oh, second रह गया बच्चों. Which type of reaction is X to Z? X से Z तक जाने के लिए किस तरह का रिएक्शन है ये?
Endothermic
Endothermic we can say क्योंकि heat is given.
heat is
And another type, here NaHCO3, it breaks down into 3. So also
decomposition.
decomposition reaction. Next, third. Start to read.
You are given three unknown solutions A, B, and C with pH values of 6, 8, and 9.5 respectively.
Hmm.
In which solution will the maximum number of hydronium ions be present? Arrange the given samples in the increasing order of H plus ion
Concentration.
concentration.
Hmm.
हाइड्रोनियम मतलब हाइड्रोजन आयंस with water.
Yes.
तो acid
Hydrogen
हाँ.
acid. Acidic character.
Increasing order of H plus ion concentration is 6, 8 and 9.5.
No, these are pH values.
अच्छा. Ma'am, but with pH only we can say no, ma'am.
But pH value 0 to 7 acidic character, 7 to 14 basic character. So if it is less than 7, then it is acidic, having more hydrogen ion concentration.
Yes, ma'am. So it's 6, then it goes to 8, then it goes to 9.4. No, ma'am.
But
It's not that bases don't have hydrogen ions, it's just the concentration is much less.
but they are asking about the increasing order of H plus ion.
Yeah, ma'am. So then it would start with the lowest pH value, no, ma'am.
Greatest pH value. Lowest. They are asking increasing order. So smaller will go here. When it lies
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am.
CBA,
Increasing order. Yes.
increasing order.
9.5, 8, and 6.
Huh. Aita, are you okay with this question?
Yes, ma'am.
Read B part.
Comment on the following statements. First, bee sting is treated with baking soda paste, whereas wasp sting is treated with dilute vinegar.
Hmm.
Ma'am, bee sting has formic acid.
Acidic in character, so it is treated with base, while wasp sting is dilute vinegar
Ma'am,
means
it is
acid or
what, ma'am?
base. Dilute vinegar. It means acid base.
Ma'am, vinegar is base, I guess.
I guess. Yesterday I told you. CH3 acetic acid is vinegar. Acidic.
Oh,
So wasp sting is basic in nature. That's why it is treated with acid to neutralize it. Okay?
ma'am, what is wasp sting?
Wasp, it is also a type of insect. वास्प को नॉर्मल और हिंदी लैंग्वेज में आई थिंक हम वास्प स्टिंग इज बेसिक इन नेचर ऐसा कुछ इसका हाँ ततैया हमारे यहाँ उसे ततैया बोला जाता है बी मधुमक्खी वास्प ततैया नेक्स्ट farmers treat soil with quicklime when tiling quicklime quick what is the formula of quicklime
CaO.
CaO and quicklime is added to make it neutral or basic in soil it is added to make it neutral or basic. Hmm. Next, ancient.
Ancient sculptures and marble structures are conserved by treating them with certain chemicals.
Hmm. They become blackish. Hmm. So, to protect sculptures from the effects of certain gases present in environment and acid rain. Okay, friends. Tanya.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in examination you have to reply all these questions.
Yes, ma'am.
ये और पढ़ लीजिए then this page will be completed. Tanya, question number 29.
Water is used by the leaves of the plants for photosynthesis,
Hmm.
but rather than watering the leaves, we water the plant through soil. How does this water reach the leaves of the plant?
Hmm.
Ma'am, it reaches. Ma'am, this we have to write in detail, but
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it in detail right now. The water travels through the roots of the plant and is transported to the various other parts of the plant.
By which vascular tissue?
Xylem.
So evaporation of water molecules from the stomata creates a suction which pulls, एक second, I think I told you 29th we are doing na. हाँ, some
Ma'am,
point मैंने बोला.
first we
एक
say that the water enters the roots due to the difference in the concentration of ions in the soil.
Yes, and xylem tissue of the root, stems, and leaves are interconnected to form a continuous system of water conducting channels. During the day, when stomata are open, the transpiration pull becomes the major driving force for the movement of water in the xylem. Evaporation of water molecules from the stomata creates a suction which pulls water from the xylem cells of roots to stem and then to leaves. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so xylem tissue से, soil से, through root it comes to the leaves and it is also created by transpiration pull. So that's all for today's class, students.